Gotta lock it in. Boom, boom. Welcome to the Badger Den. Well, I'm sure we're all wondering how much we're going to allow LA to cook. I mean, do we like it rare, medium rare, well done? Because I think we're on the well done side. So let's dive in. Right now on the screen, what you're seeing is kind of a layout of the current riots and how things are playing out. Just want to note right here's the big boy. These were the ones that have come up as part of Antifa and Union del Barrio and a new player that is primarily focused on La Raza. Those of you that know that word know that is essentially, what can we say, a Mexican supremacist organization. So yeah, very friendly guys. They're the type of guys that'll stab you in the back when you're in a fight with one of their own. A lot of them like to do that. So the downtown LA and Boyle Heights area, this is where most of the action happened. This is where you saw a lot of the imagery with the concrete cinder blocks being thrown on police. Amazingly, no police, thankfully, were killed. That's where they hid under the overpasses because essentially they're being pelted on all sides. The federal building, this is where essentially the I don't want to say last stand, but when essentially Trump's group were there and they basically said, no, you're not taking this over. And that's where some of the rubber bullets were fired. That's where a lot of the tear gas were fired. And they're basically saying, nope, come and get it. Compton and Paramount. So a lot of burnings went on here. This is where essentially you had a lot of looting going on. So you've got the main activity over here. You've got, your normal thuggish behavior down here. And it's just spilling out around in these areas. So it's cooking right now. So let's take a look. It looks absolutely awful. One of the things, of course, I don't know what these are. Does anybody know? Oh, look at that. Anybody know what these are? Just they're everywhere. Like it's almost like they represent a different group. Like they're not part of everyone else. Like they're trying to stand out and say, no, we don't belong here. We don't agree with anything around us. We're going to set up a new. Oh, look, he's having fun. That looks like fun, doesn't it? Just looks like this. He's just having a good time. And of course, he's being extra safe. Look at that mask. He's been extra safe. Here's, of course, this is a few days ago or a couple days ago now. This is where they were hiding on the overpass. Just glad these guys are okay. I haven't seen any deaths, thankfully. I'm sure there's several in the hospital because, you take a brick to the dome, you're not exactly feeling too good, even with a helmet. This looks like somebody you want to invite over for dinner. Yeah. I'm sure he's a swell guy. And, of course, look, he's got a buddy now. We saw him the other day. He's got a buddy. He's got a friend. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So, while all that chicanery is going on, we do have some Rough Riders rolling up. Semper Fi to those Marine guys. Love you guys. So, Trump has said enough is enough. Or has he? So, Trump is sending in the Marines. He is deploying the National Guard. Taking them over from Gavin Newsom because Gavin Newsom is incompetent and inept. And it's just essentially an all-around flaccid fellow. He doesn't really have any wherewithal or gumption to get the job done. So roll out, guys. Roll out. Go get them. Go get them. I know, they're not really going to do anything. Not yet. And we'll get into that here in a moment. So, Gavin Newsom, wonderful Newsom, he's essentially, now that Trump has said, you know what, we're pulling the pin on this, we're sending the Marines, or he's sending in the Marines, he's sending them in, and that's about it right now. So Gavin Newsom, he has now decided, oh wait, I might actually have to do something now. So he's now called up a bunch of state troopers that he has control over, and he's sending those in. So he's actually trying to do something now that Trump has pulled the pin. Of course, he waited until that key moment. Because again, optics matter, because that's where the spin is going to occur. Because again, you've got half the country still sucking in that juice from CNN, that good old Kool-Aid, and they don't understand that Gavin had the opportunity to do all this. The mayor had the opportunity to do all this, and they just let it fester. They wanted this to happen. And now that Trump has finally pulled the pin, they're like, okay, now that he's doing what we want him to do, now that we can do the optics that we're looking to frame this in, we can now actually try to start getting ready to clean this up. Not yet. They're going to push this as far as they can. And what are they waiting on? They're waiting on the Insurrection Act. So one of the things to specifically note, again, I love how Newsom is saying that this is unnecessary. They're just sitting in unused in federal buildings without orders. Well, duh, because Trump has not enacted the Insurrection Act. All of these guardsmen, National Guardsmen, and the Marines, they're sitting in federal locations. So they're not actually doing anything. But again, the optics matter, because again, Gavin Newsom is already saying, oh, wow, he's deployed them. He's rolled out the Marines. Oh, my goodness, this is fascism. He's got boots on the ground. They're goose-stepping now. No, Trump is showing an insane amount of control, and frankly, I would have rolled up in there and be like, yeah, start beanbagging people. Beanbagging them in the dome, I don't care. Get them cleared out. Pick up the bodies, throw them in a trebuchet, launch them back to where they came from. That's what needs to happen. And it's disgusting that Gavin Newsom is trying to act like the Marines are doing nothing and just sitting there, because Trump is again showing a large amount of restraint, because Trump again has not invoked the Insurrection Act. So Gavin Newsom has stated, let me be clear, there is no invasion, there is no rebellion. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Because that's not exactly how the Mexican president sees it. The Mexican president has all but confirmed that this is an invasion, that those are not Americans, and they are Mexican citizens that do not belong here. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, I love this little tidbit. Of course, Trump being Trump. I would love it if Tom were to arrest Gavin Newsom. That would be hilarious. I mean, dereliction of duty. I mean, what do you want to do? Conspiracy to cause an insurrection? Sedition? I mean, I'm all for it. Gavin Newsom's not doing anything anyway. Let him go take one more trip to the French Laundry real quick while California burns. Sounds about like his MO, doesn't it? So the Mexican president is saying the quiet part out loud. I love it when leftists do that. So I don't know how many of y'all are aware of remittances. So a lot of Mexicans, when they're here in the country, they have family down in Mexico. They love their family. Totally get it. They earn a living here. They're not really part of our society. They have not assimilated, but they take that money that they earn and they send it back to Mexico. How much is that, though? Well, conservative estimates are between $60 and $70 billion. That's a lot of money. So Trump has now decided, you know what? Why don't we stop the flow of that money and keep it here in America? After all, those were dollars that were earned and paid for by American citizens to Mexican citizens, who are now taking that money and shipping it back to Mexico. Let's keep that money here, shall we? So now that Trump is looking to author some legislation, or with the help of some Republican representatives, author some legislation to prevent that from happening or reduce the propensity of that, the Mexican president is absolutely losing her shit. So she has threatened to mobilize the country against this upcoming legislation. Not sure what she means by that. I mean, that's like a toddler coming up to a full-grown man and saying, I'm going to beat on you. Really? That's the tact you want to go? Really? Really? So the reason why this is so disgusting is, or why that's such a huge impact to Mexico, is that is about over 10%. That's about 15% of their budget. The Mexican government's budget, that's 15% of their freaking budget. That's a lot of money that's coming back into Mexico. And so she's angry, the little socialist president is again angry that she cannot take money from people who are earning and use it for little socialist causes. Makes socialists mad when you take away their supply of capitalist money. And I love it. So here's the quiet part. If necessary, we will mobilize. We don't want taxes on remittances from our fellow countrymen from the U.S. to Mexico. So she admits that these people that are here in the United States are not American. She knows it. They're Mexicans who refuse to assimilate, who want nothing to do with America, who hate America, who are part of La Raza and want to see California to Texas burn. And frankly, they want to take it back over and make it part of Mexico's. The way they see it, this is Mexico, at least that territory. They believe that is still Mexico. No, we beat your ass fair and square. Go back home. We'll do it again, too. Or, I'm sorry, real Americans will do it. The soy boy Californians, they won't really do it fine. You're right there. They'll run like chicken shit and scream and cry. Come on, keyboard warrior. Say it ain't so. So the way that they're wanting to do this is to tax all remittances. Specifically, they're wanting to push it to 15% now. America is not the world's piggy bank, and we don't take kindly to threats. I agree. Trump was pushing for 3.5. Schmidt is pushing to 15%. He's one of the ones that's wanting to help author this. I think 50% would be even better. I think it should be shut off. Mexico needs to pull all their countrymen back home. Again, per their own president. And if you think that was just a fluke, that's just a fluke, Mouthy. That's because English isn't our first language. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. How about this? This is from the Mexican president. We call the Mexican community to act passively and not allow itself to be provoked. So again, Mexican community living here in the U.S., not U.S. citizens, not the U.S. fabric of A, but Mexican community, Mexican citizens. Made clear that the government has an unwavering commitment to protection and defense of human rights of Mexicans, regardless of their immigration status. Oh, isn't that sweet? She doesn't care that there are Mexicans here in the United States taking from Americans, shipping it back, and she doesn't care that they're illegal. She's happy that they're illegal because she don't care. She just wants that 60 to 70 billion on the conservative end flowing back into Mexico. Again, moments to make it clear, practices that criminalize immigration and put risk at safety of well-being of our communities in the United States. So she is not happy that illegal Mexicans have come here illegally and we are treating them like illegals because it's illegal. Yeah, tell you what, take them back. They don't want to be here. They think it's their country. What is that when they think that this is somebody else's country? Is that like an insurrection? Is that sedition? I think that validates the need for the Marines to root them out and send them home. Come on, Lefty. Explain it to me. Is this not seditious behavior? Is this not an insurrection then? Even the Mexican president can see it. Even she can admit to it out loud. Shows how much of a moron she is. And, of course, in the other corner, Hakeem Jeffries, yes. So, Hakeem Jeffries, again, a leftist is going to lefty. They've got the virtue signal, and they've got to pretty much throw the law enforcement under the bus. Because, again, this is the party of defund the police. And they have rolled that back. You notice you don't hear that anymore during this Summer of Love 2.0. But they still have that, just like Kamala Harris is still coming in support of the violence and not condemning the violence in the LA riots. Hakeem Jeffries, the left, are still pushing the defund police narrative. They're just not saying it out loud anymore. They've learned, hey, we're not going to say this out loud. We're going to take another tack. So this is what they're doing. So the ICE director, Todd Lyons, he is pointing out a lot of disgusting things that are happening. A lot of agencies were invited to come out 2 weeks ago to LA. They ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. People were taking photos and getting their names, faces, posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So it's bad enough that locals are doing it. And again, they're trying to cover their faces to protect their identity so they can protect children, protect their families. It used to be the mob had a rule. You don't go after somebody's family. These Mexicans and cartels, they don't have that rule. Even gangs generally have a rule: you don't hit a police officer's family. There was a code. There was at least some sort of honor among thieves. These Mexicans do not have that semblance. They do not care. They will go after your family. Leftists don't care. They're evil. They're vile. They're disgusting. They are willing to hurt women and children. We arrested someone that was going online, taking their photos and posting families of their kids' Instagram. So threatening and targeting children. So again, defend it, leftist. Defend this type of behavior. Again, I'm sorry if people are offended by my people wearing masks, but I'm not going to let officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their families on the line because people don't like immigration enforcement. And again, is that the issue? That we're just upset about the mask? Or is anyone upset that ICE officers' families were labeled as terrorists? Because that's what Hakeem Jeffries is doing. You don't believe me? Hakeem Jeffries, right here. Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and trying to hide their identity from the American people will be unsuccessful at that. This is not the 1930s. Every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will be identified. He is loving this. He is trying to scare these ICE agents and get them to withdraw and get them to protect their families and be like, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to protect my family because I'm the man of the house and my first job is to my family and protecting my family. Hakeem Jeffries needs to be ousted. He is ugly and disgusting. How would he like it if the roles were reversed? I got a feeling he would be up in arms, and I got a feeling people would be brought up on charges. I'm pretty sure the FBI would be opening up investigations. Hakeem Jeffries needs to be investigated for encouraging violence on ICE agents. So who's really running all this? So again, mentioned that NGOs, again, are funding a lot of these organizations. What are these organizations representing? What is this La Raza? Who is Union Barrio? What are they wanting? They're wanting to reconquer America. You heard that right. So Central CSO, a partner with Union del Barrio, pushes for the Mexican people to have self-determination in America's Southwest, i.e. looking to take it back over and create a Chaz 2.0 Mexican style. Isn't that lovely? They like to have this flag of Aztlan. What a little Aztec dude. Come here, little Aztec dude. Was it the Mayans or the Aztecs that like to do baby sacrifice? I know a lot of them like to do a lot of human sacrifice. But, I mean, I guess it fits. They do like to destroy people and everything else. So I guess it fits. This is a symbol that has been used by Mexican nationalists who claim that America has no legitimate claim to states, specifically Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. Again, they want to rehash the Mexican-American War. So, I mean, I'm up for it. You up for it? We're up for it. Individual, social, blah, 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 threat, violence against law enforcement. Yeah, again, I mean, they're going to find out that we do not play games out here. We're no longer going to be on the defensive. We're going to take the fight to them. And this was posted regarding ICE agents on a video posted by a communist organization. This is another ethnic separation group. We talked about this in some of the other streams. If you haven't seen some of the other streams, I called this group out. Union del Barrio, which calls for the United States is an illegal settler nation on behalf of La Raza, which means the race. These people are Mexican supremacists. They will be and are not and never want to be Americans. They need to be kicked out. They need to be stamped out, and they need to understand this is America. Union del Barrio considers itself an international racial organization that fights against European colonialism and Anglo settlers, aka whiteys. Blackies, you better wake up because you're being replaced. The whole racial replacement theory, yeah, that's happening, but people got it wrong. The first race that they're looking to replace are blacks. Blacks, you guys wake up. You're American as I am. You've been here for hundreds of years. My family's been here for hundreds of years. Guess what? We're brothers in this. You don't want another group coming in and just saying, hey, we now own this section of the U.S. No, 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 no. We are the U.S. of A. We need to stand up and say, look, you're Mexican. You don't like it here. You don't like the U.S. So here's your one-way ticket back. There you go. That's where you really belong. That's really where you want to be. Fly that flag in that country where it belongs. Because I guarantee you, if a bunch of Americans ran into Mexico City and started flying the American flag and burning shit down, what do you think the Mexican government would do? Do you think they'll be so soft-handed? Do you think they'll be as soft-handed as the American government? No, I don't think so. The revolutionary organization similarly invokes the myth of Aztlan, whatever that word is. Union del Barrio considers itself, we just talked about that. Continue on. We hold that the struggle of La Raza, the race, the Mexico Occupado is historically and geographically defined as an indigenous and Mexicano anti-colonial fight for land and socialism. Oh, and that's sweet. They're Marxists too. Again, want to get rid of the United States white nationalist population. I'm sorry, do we still have to call replacement theory a theory? Is it still, Lefty, is it still a theory? Is it? The organization takes to social media to broadcast the location of ICE agent and works with Union del Barrio to create and disseminate a guide of how to identify vehicles used by ICE. Again, that's what we know. What do you think they're doing? I bet you they're compiling a list of identified ICE agents and they're going after the families, as we just saw in a prior article that I brought up. This is just the outside facade. They are going after these ICE agents. They are trying to find their families. They are going to attack women and children. And you guys are putting up with this stuff. The Marxist organizations have joined in a protest against ICE. The protests were advertised by Refuse Fascism LA, a far-left org that hands out propaganda created by RevComp, the Revolutionary Communist Party. Commies got a commie, don't they? The Party for Socialism and Liberation, another Marxist organization, encouraged people to take to the streets. Go back to your socialist hellhole. You know what, commies? There are plenty of communist organizations out there. I will buy you a one-way ticket there. Hit me up. I'll buy you a one-way ticket. You can go commie in a commie organization, a commie country that you actually enjoy. It's amazing. Commies love to commie in the free world, but they don't like to commie in commie worlds. I wonder why that is. Commies, you have no soul. Commies aren't people. Commies are one step above a PDFer. You got PDFers and then commies. There's only one thing worse than a commie, and that's a PDFer. They're all not human. They don't have souls. So again, are you awake yet to what's going on? So this is a wonderful map. This is the 1980s. Look at the 1980s. These darker areas are where you can see where the Hispanic population generally is. Whoop-de-doo. Hispanics amounted to just 6% of the population and were a total of just 403 counties of the 3,000 total counties in the country. So 403 counties in which Hispanics made up more than 5%. Now, let's look at 2020, 40 years later. Well, that's a change. That's a change. It gets better. 40 years later, Hispanics account for more than 20% of the population, and that's just the ones that are currently known. Illegal aliens aren't included in these numbers. Double it. Double it. So illegal aliens somewhere are between 20 and 40%, or I'm sorry, Hispanics are somewhere between 20 and 40% of the population now. Let's cut the difference and say 30%. But it's not an invasion, right? It's not an invasion. It's not an invasion. But let's say we take Whitey and Blackie and we take over 30% of Japan and we start not integrating there, not assimilating, and setting up our own little barrios, our own little fiefdoms, and speak just English. You know, we throw a little cracker in there, little Ebonics, just to liven it up, and then we burn shit down every once in a while. Do you think the Japanese would like that? Do you think they might call it an invasion? Are you awake yet? So why is this being allowed to happen by the leftists? Why did this happen over the last 4 to 5 years? Why has it been happening over the last, I don't know, 40 years? So the main thing is, and this is hilarious because Obama took it off the census as far as asking whether or not somebody was a citizen. The Supreme Court said, oh yeah, you can do that. When Trump added it back on, so this was a question that was already on the census, Obama took it off by executive order. Republicans sued. SCOTUS said, no, the president has the authority to do that. Trump came in 2016. He's like, okay, SCOTUS has already determined that that's a legal thing that I can do. I'm going to add the question back in. SCOTUS said, no, you can't add that question in. But you just said it was the presidential authority to be able to do that, so I'm going to do that. Again, rules for thee, not for me. And those questions are critical because that determines, per the census data, how funds are allocated federally. So if you are able to say, okay, California, we know that 20% of your population are illegals, guess what? You're not going to get that additional 20% of funding you've been looking for. Ouch. Now all of a sudden California isn't incentivized to allow a bunch of illegals to come into their country that they now must subsidize and not use federal funds. It's interesting when all of a sudden you add dollars into it, it makes it hurt to where they're not incentivized, key word, to allow illegals into the country. It also shifts the electoral college, allowing essentially states that allow a bunch of illegals in to tally up additional electoral college votes and choose the next president. It also pumps up the House seat availability. So essentially, again, we have a limited number of House seats. The more people per state, the more districts they can have, the more House representatives they can have. That's also how the Electoral College gets counted, their votes. And, of course, actual voting tallies. So there are a number of reasons to allow illegals in if it aligns with your political focus. And that political focus is to make this a monolithic country that essentially votes and always will vote to the socialist, communist Democrats and give away free stuff to illegals for making it possible. Congrats. You now know that the replacement theory is not a theory at all. It is a fact. And what is the number one reason behind it is control. It's always been about control. So that's the highbrow explanation, but the low IQ Democrats, they don't really understand that. So they make up their own explanations, and it's lovely. It's lovely. So Jasmine Crockett, the gift that keeps on giving, says that we need Hispanic immigrants to do things like pick our cotton. I believe she said something to the effect of she's already picked cotton, even though she's never seen a cotton field in her life, and she don't want to do that no more. And she now wants the illegal immigrants to pick the cotton. Again, liberals, make it make sense. Black racism's okay. Hispanic racism okay. White racism is not. No. All racism is bad. All racism is bad. Yes, it is. Again, Nadler, one, without undocumented workers, we would not have anyone to pick our crops. I'm sorry, I grew up in the South. White people pick crops just fine. Whitey can do it too. It works just fine. These fingers, they do it just fine. And of course, Black Blunt, she had a bit more colorful language. If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally or work or build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anyone around to wipe our asses because we don't have enough people in our country now to fill the jobs that we have right now. You see that? That's how she sees the majority of America. People to wipe her butt. You don't hate these people enough, folks. You really don't. They see you as scum. Not to be outdone. Right now, this is Wachowski, and what he did is he worked pretty much with Sanders. Right now, our system is rigged against working people, our poorest neighbors, and the most vulnerable members of our communities. I feel very strongly about this. I feel the need to say this. The market picks winners and losers. It's the job of the government and tax code to right-size that. So what this person doesn't understand, because they're a dumb Marxist, is when you allow a bunch of illegals into the country, you hurt the poorest of the nation. You hurt whites and blacks, the poorest of the nation, because it dilutes the workforce. Now, all of a sudden, instead of having 10 people and you're trying to attract some of those 10 people to come pick cotton, Crockett, you have to pay them a certain amount. But now all of a sudden, if there's 100 people in that pool, well, now all of a sudden there's more demand for that one job. So you don't have to charge as much to be able to keep people to come in and pay them to pick your cotton. Come on, Crockett, that's what you really want. You want some cheap labor to pick your own cotton. And then Trump administration just, I don't understand this. Are we really going to do this again? Abrego Garcia returned to face charges. Look, he's a horrible person. We all know it. But why are we doing this charade? He's where he should be. He's out of the country. Why are you bringing him back to put him on a leash and do a dog and pony show? Because, again, these dumb Democrats went down and did a little feature with him. And the Trump administration has had a little bit of bad press here and there. And so now they're trying to trot this guy out and say, look, this is the Democrats' woke little savior right here. This wonderful man, dubbed the Maryland Man by the Democrats. He is now being charged in an illegal alien smuggling ring. He, of course, beat his wife. Accused. Has smuggled thousands of illegals, including children. He is a child trafficker. This is the savior of the left. They pick the gross of the gross and hold them up. And so the Trump administration is going to bring him back, trot him around, be like, this is the guy that you hung your hopes on. This guy right here, this alleged MS-13 gang member who is a child trafficker. Good job, left. Again, left, you don't get it because you're in the wrong. You're not on the right side of history. Isn't that the quote you like to say? Here's you on the right side of history, the left. And so let's get out on some stuff that we talked about earlier. Arizona Governor Hobbs, you're a C-nut. And why are you a C-nut? Because you vetoed the bill to block Chinese, name another country, coming in and buying land here in the U.S. They're not part of our country. They don't belong here. They shouldn't be allowed to buy farmland or land anywhere here in the United States. They're not Americans. Get them out. Chinese billionaire buys land near U.S. defense contractors. Again, Hobbs, who do you work for, Hobbs? Who do you really work for? Because it ain't the American people. So I did a quick search here. So this is just in the past few years where Chinese have been buying, and this is just China. This is including other foreign entities that have been buying up farmland and buying up land near military contractors, military bases, defense contracting sites. So in New Hampshire, 23 acres were bought near a DoD facility. Don't know what's going at the DoD facility, but the Chinese bought some acreage next to it. In Wyoming, 12 acres next to the Minuteman ICBM. Now this one sent up so many red flags that they actually stopped it. This was going to go through, and then enough people caught wind of it and was like, it's probably not good to have the Chinese right next to an ICBM site. Probably not a good idea. Yeah, it's a bad idea. Florida, 10 acres next to our military base. California, 277 acres next to a Marine Corps base. North Carolina, unknown how many acres next to an Army base. And Texas, 100 acres next to an Air Force base. Make it make sense, liberals. Make it make sense. Does this seem right to you? Does this seem like a good decision to allow a foreign entity to come in and buy land next to our military? Farmland. Not only is this happening to the military, but also has what been happening right now in farmland. Texas, 160,000. These are thousands of acres. North Carolina, and these are just the top ones. North Carolina, 45,000. Michigan. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Missouri. Sorry about that. That's Missouri, not Michigan. I need to put the correct abbreviation there. Apologies. Utah, 32,000. And Virginia, 14,000 acres. I don't know why I put MI there, but this should be Missouri. There we go. Eventually, spit it out there. Brain fart. So that's just disgusting. And why is that disgusting? Because didn't we just do this? Wuhan researcher charged with smuggling biological materials into a U.S. lab. Yeah. What were they smuggling? They were smuggling a specific, what was it, roundworm? Again, to the University of Michigan. What's going on there, Michigan? What are you doing? What's going on in your labs? Because this is what we know about. These are the ones that we've caught. So what this woman has done is she has tried to get roundworms in here. She was offered an exchange visit scholar at a Michigan lab at the University of Michigan for 1 year on a research of roundworms. And what she was doing is she had found a way to edit the gene sequence of these roundworm. And for those that don't know what roundworm is awful. Roundworm gets into your intestines. They multiply there. They can block and cause intestinal blockages, but that's just what the adults do. The larvae go throughout your entire body. They can even go into your brain. They can cross the blood-brain barrier and get into your brain. They can get into your liver. They can get to your heart. They can get into your lungs. This is awful stuff. And not only that, it's very bad for pregnant women and children. This woman needs to be burned at the stake. She's a witch. She has been working to genetically modify roundworm to make it worse. And what's disgusting is that this kind of stuff can be thrown into water, and then you can drink it, and you got it. And she is essentially building out stuff to make these things more aggressive and more destructive. They don't know exactly what gene sequences she was looking to edit. I sure hope they find out and then burn her at the stake. So with all the bad stuff happening, let me give you some good news. RFK Jr. removes all members of the CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel. Round of applause. Oh, don't you just love to see it? So all 17 members of the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices have been removed under the direction of the Health Secretary, Bobby Kennedy. Just fantastic. He alleged that the appointments were made in an effort to lock in public health ideology and limit the incoming administration's ability to take proper actions to restore public trust in vaccines. Now, what I love about this is that the number one people that are coming out against this are people from the AMA, the president of the AMA. This is the same AMA that was pushing for gender-affirming care. Yeah. Okay. You can sit down now. You just lost all credibility. Bobby might not be a doctor, but he's got way more credibility than you right now. So sit your butt down and let him go to work. Because we all know something's happening, and it might have something to do with vaccines. Vaccines might be a contributing factor, but we don't know for sure yet. But let's let parents make that decision for what goes into their children, and not the CDC, and let Bobby try to figure out what's actually causing these autism rates. Vaccines might be it, might not be it, might be a contributing factor. I don't know. But we can definitely assume that it's kind of odd that we have one of the highest autism rates in the world. We also have the highest vaccination rate as far as the number of vaccines and the schedule that we have our children on, our little babes. So guys, a lot of stuff going on in the world. I'd like to give a little bit of good news there toward the end. If you haven't bought you some silver, go buy you some silver real quick. It just shot up $1 just in the past week. I mean, come on, guys. We got to get ready. Get ready. So that's off my rant, off my soapbox. See you guys later. See you tomorrow. Welcome to the Badger Den. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bye, guys. How do I shut this off? No, that's not it.